Contestant number 2, Ian Humphrey. Never let the sun set on your promises. Never let the sun set on your promises. Ian Humphrey.
Madam Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and anyone else that has ever had a promise broken. He called collect from prison, said he was getting out. My dad. Son, I'm getting out today. I'll be by to see you guys, so tell your brother I'm coming. Yeah, I know, but this time, I promise. I was 10 years old. My brother was 8. But I can still recall getting so excited that summer day, we actually cleaned our room. And after lunch, we went outside on our grandmother's porch, sat down, and started waiting. My brother was first to break the silence. Dude, what kind of car do you think he'll be driving? Bet you it's a Porsche. For no reason other than he was my little brother, I disagreed. Lamborghini. And as we waited, we watched every car that drove by. El Camino. Look, is that a Monte Carlo? Man, that was a Pinto. But the whole time, the sun was descending, and soon disappointment began to set in. Next, it was my turn to break the silence. You know what? I don't care if he shows up riding a bicycle. My brother responds, yeah, I don't care if he's walking. The truth is, we didn't care how he got there. We just hoped that for once, he'd finally show up. I'll never forget sitting there and watching that sun disappear. And with it, so did our dad's promises. Finally, our grandmother came outside and was able to convince us that he wasn't coming. So we went inside. I don't know why, but we continued accepting those collect calls from my father for years. And my brother and I repeated the process of cleaning our room, sitting outside on our grandmother's porch, watching the sun go down. The last time we took that call, I was 15 years old, but by then I knew better. So I didn't tell my little brother Dad was on his way. I guess I tried to save him the disappointment. Ian, was that Dad on the phone? No, it was the wrong number. About 1 hour later, why do you keep looking out that window? I'm just watching the sun go down. In his absence, my father taught me 2 very valuable lessons. The first, never let the sun set on your promises. Children, never forget. If you have ever had a promise broken, I'm sure you can still recall how that made you feel. And if you have ever promised anything to a child, you've seen the excitement. Mom, Dad, are we still going to get ice cream like you promised? Boy, that was less than 2 minutes ago. It's something about the excitement in their voice. It's that look on their face. That's the innocence of being a child. I can recall seeing that same look on my son's face when he was 5 years old. You see, that year, all he wanted for Christmas was a toy robot. Dad, you think Santa Claus will really give me a toy robot like he promised? My wife and I searched high and low for that robot. Couldn't find one. So instead, we bought him a video game. Christmas morning, he woke me up first. Dad, are you awake yet? I wasn't. Not at 4:30 in the morning. But we all got up, went downstairs, still wearing our jammies, I'll never forget because I was having a horrible hair day. But I watched as he ripped open that first gift and found a video game. Quickly, he made his way around the Christmas tree, leaving wrapping paper in his wake. After opening up the last gift, he slowly stood. While choking back tears, he says, Santa Claus broke his promise. He didn't bring me a robot. Quickly, I grabbed the video game and showed him all of the cool things it could do. But it wasn't a robot. As that day dragged on, I lost track of time in my son's disappointment. And before I knew it, the sun started descending. In one last desperate attempt, I grabbed my car keys and I headed to the only place I knew was open on Christmas Day, Walgreens. With my fingers crossed, I busted those doors like a cowboy in a saloon, and I found the toy aisle. I couldn't believe it, but there it was. A 2-foot-tall, noise-making, rocket-launching robot for only $10. I made it home long before that sun disappeared behind the Rocky Mountains. You should have seen my boy's face. You would have thought that Santa Claus himself had walked through that door. He jumped into my arms, looked at me and said, Dad, I know you'd never break a promise. By the time the sun disappeared that day, that $10 robot was broken. But when I tucked him in that night, he looked at me and said, Dad, this was the best Christmas ever. I don't care if it's a pinky promise or the kind where you cross your heart. Children only know that you've made a promise, and somehow they know that promises aren't supposed to be broken, because when they are, so are hearts. The second lesson that my dad taught me in his absence was this: the things that hurt us the most while we were growing up, we don't have to repeat them. The hurt and pain from broken promises, it ends right here. With me. It ends right here with you by never letting that sun set on your promises. Madam Contest Chair.